Today marks the beginning of what is most likely going to be 2 weeks of insanity. Okay, so I'm dumping the compost bins. To catch you guys up, I know I've been MIA on here, and I'm really sorry about that. My husband has been kind of taking the reins on making the videos and stuff because I've just been so insanely busy. I just couldn't. But I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try real hard. So, we had. Let me see how can I put this into English words. So the last 2 weeks has been an absolute whirlwind. It has been completely crazy. It started out with my sister coming into town a week and a half ago, and I had to spend 3 days prior to that doing as much work as humanly possible in the kitchen so that I could hopefully have some time to kind of chill with my sister, right? And then she came, and it was just like a week and a half of festivals, constant festivals and markets, and thankfully my husband and my son were also able to step in and help out with that. And my sister was also completely wonderful, and she's jumped in. She was helping out, and she had a fantastic attitude, and she had, from what I can tell, a really good visit, even though all we did for the most part, with the exception of maybe like a day or two, was work in the kitchen or work at a festival. And needless to say, 2 weeks ago I had more product than I knew what to do with. I was probably annoying all of the kitchen mates at the commercial kitchen that I share space with, and now not so much. So that's the start of the next 2 weeks of my life, is attempting to restock. We are out of almost everything. I honestly don't even know how we are going to stock the regular farmers markets that we have. We don't even have any festivals for like 3 weeks. And it's time to get to work. Thankfully, my husband has some extra days off this week, and he's going to come to the kitchen to help me, and we're just going to bang out as much as humanly possible. I bought 100 and... Stop it. I bought 120 pounds. Is that 120? No, it's 160 pounds of Napa cabbage. I'm about to head into town to pick up an order that I have for 160 pounds of green cabbage, and we're just going to make as much as humanly possible. So I'm just getting ready to go to the kitchen. I'm going to bring you guys along for parts of it, and I'll kind of give you an idea of what is involved with a very small business trying to grow in the fermentation business. I am unbearably thankful about how well my products have been received here locally, and I'm very excited about the growth and the possibility, because if I can barely keep up on my own with just selling at festivals and farmers markets, like, I'm just blown away. I mean, I know my stuff is good for me, and I enjoy it. I love it. I consume it constantly, but it's just, I don't know, like, it's so cool that other people enjoy it, and they love it, and they buy it, and they come back, and they get more. It's an amazing experience, because fermentation has completely changed my life. Absolutely, 100%. Every time that I consume large amounts of fermented foods, my life is better. Like, I mean, that is oversimplification at its finest, but that there is a direct correlation for me, and I love being able to introduce other people to it, because fermentation is not incredibly common around where I am in most of the surrounding areas. In, the main larger cities, it's a little bit more known, but in a lot of the smaller places, some of the festivals that I do, it's not. So, like, I mean, every time I go to a festival, I get to introduce like 50 to 100 new people to fermentation, who some of them have kind of heard of it, some of them have never heard of it, some of them have always wanted to try it, but they just never did. And since I offer samples, I get to introduce them to it. Some people cannot stand it, and that's totally fine. But, I always encourage them to continue with it and to keep trying it here and there whenever they can, and eventually they'll start to get the taste for it. But like, most people are just like, wow, that's really good. I enjoy that. Let me get a jar of that. Or, or I'll introduce them to my YouTube channel and tell them that, they can ferment it for themselves if they want to. And it's I don't know, like, I get to spend every day of my life doing something that brings me joy and happiness and brings other people good health and things that can hopefully change their life as much as it has changed mine. And it's just, I get to do what I love every day of my life. Like, I'm literally about to go to my kitchen, and for the next 4 days, I'm gonna be making probably 400 pounds, I'm guessing, of ferments and 56 gallons of kombucha and jun. Like, that's my life. I get to ferment all day, every day. Well, not all day, every day. Thursday and Friday, I get to do a bunch of office work, but time to clean out the compost bins.
Oh, good. All right.
Okay, so gloves.
Got gloves. Surgical.
Recommending kimchi bowl.
Wow, nice. Yeah, so you gotta take the sugar out of it and sanitize it, right?
Yeah. I'm not gonna use it today. But that's just my giant mixing bowl.
Yeah.
What I had already, I couldn't fit a batch in it. So I had to split it up into 2 or 3 different batches. And then I saw that when I was buying the Napa cabbage yesterday, and I was like, yes, that's what I've been looking for. Okay, so Napa cabbage, you buy it in bulk, so it's not big through, so it might be, some parts might be a little wonky, but basically, it's not like sauerkraut, it's tiny little.
This is picking up everything?
Yeah.
It's not picking up that big bowl we were talking about.
You mean this big bowl?
Yeah.
It's written in a different language, so I have no idea how big this thing is, but it's huge. Scale.
Thumbnail. Got my first bucket done. Yeah. See how many more I can get. Probably be able to get another bucket and a half done. All right, this time, using the cube freeze dryer, Prep for Life, I got some grapefruit. I got some mandarin oranges that were canned. I got some tomatoes from the garden, some cherry tomatoes. I got some plums that are canned. See what they taste like here. Okay. Plums are definitely good. They're all ready. Cherry tomatoes. Perfect. Regular tomatoes. Perfect. Oh, I got a problem. All right. I'm going to have to put these back into the freeze dryer. They are not ready yet. I think that's an issue if you're combining different kinds of fruits or vegetables at one time. I don't know what it is, but some may require a little bit more timing to it. But I'll taste it now. It's good. We'll see how it goes. We'll put it back in there. All right. We got the grapefruit. Oh, same thing. It's the citrus. Delicious though. But yeah, these two, I'm gonna have to redo. Add a little bit of extra time on there. These two right here, they're finished.
All right, y'all, I'm back. It is 2 days later, and I just got to the kitchen. Sunrise, I beat the sunrise. And see what happened was, the other day when I went to our big city to go and pick up the rest of the supplies that I needed, I had left Robert here to cut up 4 batches of the kimchi Napa cabbage, right? Somewhere along the lines, the communications were jumbled, and he cut up 4 boxes. So that gave us double the amount of kimchi I had originally planned on making. So yesterday I had, instead of coming here, I had to go back to the city and pick up the remaining ingredients that I needed to process that kimchi, as well as 2 extra crocks. Thankfully they have them here locally and I can pick them up at a somewhat reasonable price. So I picked those up, and then when I went to start my car, it would not start. So I was stuck in the Baker Creek parking lot. And if you guys have ever been to Baker Creek, it is a terrible place to break down. It is very remote. Thankfully, my son was home. He was not at work at the time, and he was able to come and get my car started and get it jumped. And he has one of those little tester things, like you plug it in and it tells you if your alternator and your battery are running. Both of them donezo. So he gave me enough of a jump, hoping to get it to O'Reilly's, where he was going to replace both said parts in the parking lot of O'Reilly's. However, see, didn't make it there. So I basically limped the truck along as far as I possibly could until I had to pull off on the freeway, and thankfully I made it to a side road and was able to pull off onto a dirt road, and my son was able to replace my battery and my alternator just right on the side of the road and got me moving again. That was a moped going down the freeway. And the guy was hunched over. That was so funny looking.
Yeah.
Yay! We did it! So, that got us up to about dark time by the time we got home, and here we are today. So we have missed out on an entire day in the kitchen, and the plan has changed. So now we're doing probably about, let me see, 160, and then 5 times 8. What the heck is 5 times 8? 40. So that's 200 pounds, plus the weight of the water. So we're gonna be calculating, we're gonna be doing probably about 300 pounds of kimchi today. That is an educated guess, but it is still a guess. Probably about 300 pounds total. So it is time to get to work. And I also have to process a bunch of kombucha. Oh my gosh, there's so much to do. I was really hoping that I'd be able to process the kombucha today because my husband is gonna be here later, and my fingers, my lid closing fingers, they are getting arthritis-y. So especially this one, because that's just the one that I tend to use. So it's a challenge for me to get the lid on tight enough to be able to capture the carbonation. But I think today I have to process the kimchi. So I'm gonna try and get all of the lemongrass and the green onions and the limes and just everything. There is a lot that goes into making kimchi. There's a lot of ingredients and there's a lot of time. And that is why I have to charge more for the kimchi than I do for the other ferments. I mean, it's just a simple practicality. Honestly, I don't even know if I make any money on the kimchi, even with the heightened price. So let's get to work. I love you, always, forever. So put your best face on, everybody. Pretend you know this song. Come hand. Thanks for the memories, though they weren't so bad. got them all done. I got all 8 crocks of the kimchi. I was about ready to just like give up and quit. But I did it. I got them all done. Robert helped me when he was off of work, but you know, he works full time, so like he can only help me so much. But now it is the next day. It is Thursday, and these things are already starting to leak. So in order to prevent it from leaking and to retain all of the brine that we need, I gotta tend all of these. I also have to do pH tests to make sure that everything is under the 4.6 mark. The fire chi is too thick, and I cannot test it the first day. It won't give me an accurate reading. So usually by the second day, enough of the liquid has come to the top and I'm able to actually test it. The ones in the back, these are all the ones that are already established. I'm gonna be processing those ones next week. And then these 8 will ferment for between 3 to 5 weeks, just depending on the atmosphere, depending on nature, and depending on my time schedule. So these guys need to be tended. Just like that, one of them has been cleaned up and refreshed and ready to go for a couple more days. Usually I only have to worry about this for the first 5 days or so, and then it usually calms down enough to where it'll still grow some, but not beyond the point that I'm able to push it down. And that's just because it's creating CO2 in there, and the bubbles are getting trapped inside, and it's pushing up the volume, so it'll push out the brine. So I need the brine that's in there as much as possible. Especially for the kimchis, because they're more of a dry ferment. I don't add brine to it. So maintaining the brine that's currently in there is very important. Okay, so the thing that I was very excited about and now has become very nervous about is this here right behind me. This is 6,480 bottles. These are the same bottles that most of the kombucha manufacturers use. It was very difficult, very long road to try and figure out how I can actually order these, because it comes from one of the largest manufacturers in the world of glass, and they have very large minimum orders. Thankfully, I was able to get a hold of a distributor who was able to get me a hold of 2 of these pallets, and they tell me that it is duplicatable, so I should be able to do that again. But hopefully at some point we'll be able to order their minimums, which are entire tractor truck loads full, like semi-truck trailers full of these pallets. That is so much. I can't even wrap my brain around how much that is. But for now, we have enough kombucha to last us a little while. The lids should be coming in today. 10,000 lids. They're very large numbers in manufacturing, let me tell you what. But yeah, we finally got them, and hopefully within the next month or so, our kombucha should be going into these bottles. But first, we need to go through what we already have. So thanks for coming along with us for this incredibly, unexpectedly crazy week, and also thanks for coming along with us on this crazy journey of learning how to create a fermentation manufacturing business. Peace out, sauerkraut.